Lord. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, first I have to preface it with we used to go to my Auntie Ellie and Uncle Tony's all the time in Anaheim, and they lived on a cul-de-sac. And oh, we'd have so much fun when we'd go because whenever we went to a party there, it was never just for the night. It lasted sometimes a day or two. Auntie Bella would cook, and um, we would just Auntie Ellie and Uncle Tony and my mom and dad, and they'd be playing ukuleles around the table. And then there was somebody named Carmen, and I think it was Uncle Tony's brother. And the neighbors would come over, the next door neighbors, the Cars, they would come over. But there was a family down at the end of the street, and the last name was Hofer. I'm pretty sure that was their last name. And they were known to be very, very weird. They had a 2-year-old little girl that when it was raining outside, Auntie Bella would have to go get her because the kids, once the sun would come up, they were not allowed to be in the house. They had to go out and play all day, and they were not allowed to come back until it was dark. But they had a little 2-year-old, and that little 2-year-old would hide under the car if it was raining so it wouldn't get wet.
How sad.
So Auntie Bella would sometimes go get the baby, and then those kids sometimes would call Auntie Bella grandma, and she'd yell at them, and she'd say, "I'm not your grandma." Anyway, but they were a really weird family. But the kids, Dino, Craig, Auntie Ellie's kids, would tell us, don't interact with them, don't talk to them. There's something really weird about that family. Just don't talk to them. And my brother, of course, Paul, would always want to, well, what's that about, right? Well, this one night, and we were not little, we were probably teens this night. I wasn't 6 or 7. I was like 14 the night this happened, maybe 13, 14. We were all out in the cul-de-sac. It was dark. And so it must have been later because it was summertime. It was nice and warm, and we were all playing softball in the cul-de-sac. And mostly boys. There was only a few girls because there was another family across the street. All these kids grew up together. So it was like the Sandlot. We're all out there playing baseball and stuff. And somehow one of the older kids, the Hofer kids, started getting into a shouting match with our group of kids because, we would distance ourselves from them, and they just started taunting. And one of the kids yells at Dino, Craig, my brother, all the boys, or even me too, I guess, "I'm going to go get my," and I can't remember exactly how he said it, but I think he said, "I'm going to go get my devil man." And we're like, he's crazy. Like, he's going to go get his devil man. Ooh, like, we're scared, right? So we continue to play baseball, and we're having a great time, and we're playing baseball. And now if you were to picture a cul-de-sac and the house is at the end of the street straight on, that was their house. And then there was another house, the Cars, and these are big ranch style houses, so they're big houses. And then it's Auntie Ellie and Uncle Tony's on the right. All of a sudden, we look up, we're playing baseball, and there's this illumination, almost like if somebody was having a bonfire in the backyard, not the front, in the back, and it's lighting up the tree in the backyard, and we just see this red light. Now, this is the 70s, so there's not a lot of special effects. There's not fancy stuff going on.
And no projectors.
No, nothing like that, right? Unless you worked for Disney or something. But anyway, we see this red light, and all of a sudden, the light, we see this huge, almost like, in today's description, looked like a big, giant genie. And in my recollection, I don't remember his arms crossed or anything like that, but it was a huge man, and he was, I would say, twice as high as the house. So he was he's covering the tree. We can't see the tree that was in the backyard. And all of the kids are breathless. We're like, we can't breathe. We're all looking up at this bright red, and there's no other color. It is just red, and it's a man, and he's just looking down at us. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He just looks down at us. And I remember we all just run and we scatter, and I run in the house, and I'll never forget the stupid thing I say to my mom. they're all singing and playing the ukuleles, and they're all having a great time. And I don't know where everybody else went, but I'm the only one that went in the house. So Dino, Craig, my brother, I don't know where they went, but they went somewhere else. I run in the house. I'm like, Mom, there's a monster outside. And my mom looks at me, Colleen, come on. Because I'm like 13, 14 years old. I'm not like 6 or 7. I'm like, but Mom, really, there's a monster outside. And they just all bust up laughing. And so then I'm like, I want to go see this thing. I run back outside. Everybody else is back out, and it's gone. It's completely dark. It's gone. And it wasn't until years later that, my brother, we all talked about it that night, but we're like, what was that? What was that? And it was almost like we wanted it to come back because we wanted to see, what was that? And then it wasn't until years later that the whole Mr. Clean description came up, because my brother, when I was describing it one way, and then my brother said it looked like a big giant Mr. Clean because he was bald.
Yeah.
He didn't have hair. And I go, yeah, it did kind of look like Mr. Clean. But, as years go by, your recollection of how something looked. But the one thing that we know is that we all saw it. And I was so glad, because if it was something that happened and I was by myself, I would have thought I was crazy. But yeah.
Thank you
weird.
for telling us
You're
that
welcome.
story.
You're welcome.
I get that. Yeah.